Recording has started. So tonight we want to look at how to split your application into different components and why that is necessary. So to start with, we are going to build a small application. In that application, it's going to be like a school app, like a school registration portal. Then you are going to add names. Maybe I will add first name and last name of each student. Then after adding the student's first name and last name, I can delete each student also. Like after adding a student, I can delete that student. Do you get what you want to do? You want to build a school, something like a mini school portal, just something very small. Then in that system, we will add students. Then we can delete the added students. So let's start from there. First thing, I can create maybe h1 tag and say school application. Next, I want to add students, so I can have inputs. Then this can have a placeholder. Then in this placeholder, I can say you're going to type the student's first name here. I will have another input. Then you can have a placeholder. Then we can add the student last name here. Then next, you're going to have a button. So when I click on this button, I will get the student first name. When I click on this button, I will get the student first name and last name and add the student as a new student. So I can say this should be add students. Next is, of course, we want to display the added students. We want to see all the students. We can just use a table to handle that. You can display it in a table. But first thing first, let's add students. Since we are using JSX, we know that we need to import React from React. Import React from React. So we have this. Since we are using JSX, we need to import this. That's good. Next is I will add a button here. When I click on this button and click, you can call on the function called add student. So on click of this, we are going to add a new student. So we need to create a function called add student. So this function, we get the input of first name and the input of last name. It's going to get this first name and last name. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring in use states. So you can say so we've got in use states. So we want to save this first name and the last name in the use state. So we can say let first name, comma, change first name equals to use states. Then it's going to be an empty string. Then I want to do the same for last name also. A variable to handle the last name. Let's last name change last name equals to use state. Then it's going to be an empty string. Are we following? Yes, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move on. Next is this.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Okay. As these are types inside this input, we want to get the value of this input and set it as the value of this first name. So we can come here and add an input. Then we're going to call on this function change first name. So change first name. So we're going to pass the event here. Event. Then we can now say the value of first name is event dot target dot value. I think I've explained this in one of our classes. When you are using events, you pass it here, then you can now send it here. So we are passing the event here, and we are now saying the value of first name should be event dot target dot value. We can do the same for last name. Let's just copy this. Then come here and paste it. So this becomes change last name. Any question to this part? Can we move on? Please, are we getting it? Please show
Yes,
you
sir.
all.
Yes, sir. We're following it.
Okay. So what we are doing here is just simple. We are passing event, and instead of creating a function, we are just reducing our codes by writing it here directly. Next is this. When I click on this button, I want to get the value of first name and last name, then maybe push it inside an array of students. So we're going to say let's new student equals to an object. Let me close this open up. So let new student equals to an empty object. We can now say, well, first name and last name.
I can't see your screen.
Yeah, stop
Again.
sharing your screen.
You said? Oh, I stopped presenting. Sorry.
Your screen. I can't see your screen. Again.
Oh, sorry. Can we see my screen now?
No.
Okay, it's still presenting. So can we see it now?
No, not yet.
That's it.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay, we can see it now. Abby?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. What we are doing here is this on input.
Yes, you can.
Okay. As these are types inside this input, we are getting the event and we are passing it as the value of first name. That's why we call on this change first name. Remember it said that whatever we put inside this parenthesis become the value of first name. So we are just saying the value of first name should be event.target.value. That is whatever the user types inside this input. And we are doing the same thing for last name also. Let the value of last name. That's why we are calling on this change last name. So the value of last name will become event.target.value. Next is when the user clicks on this button, we are calling on this function add students, and we are creating an object. In that object, we want first name to be the value of the first name. That is, let first name be this first name, and let last name be this last name. And I explained to us that if the key and the values are the same, ES6 allows us to only write one of them. So that's why we are using this. This just means let first name be first name and let last name be last name. Any question? Can we move on?
So,
Yes.
Okay. Next is I want to create an array of students. So I can say let all students, then let's say change students. So of course it's going to start as an empty array. So at the beginning, all students is an empty array. So when we click on this button, we want to add this object. We want to push it into this empty array. So what you're going to do is you now say change all students. Then we can use the split operator. Split operator. You know, split operator, we split this. That is, whatever is inside student, help us to split it here. Whatever is inside all students, whatever is there, help us to put it here. Please, you don't push directly like this. You don't say all students dot push. No. If you want to change it, you should only change it using this change all students. So split operator will split everything here. You can now add new students. So we have an array. Help us to split everything inside our students here. Then help us to add a new student. Any question? So next thing, are we following? Hope is not. Hope is still. You still understand it. If I'm getting it, say I'm getting it.
I'm trying to.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You are still following.
Okay. Next is we want to display all the students. We can display it maybe in a table. So let's do that together. We can now see. Let's get a table to do that. A table. This table can have T head. Then the T head, we can have table first. Then in the T head, we can have TH. Then in this TH, we can now say, let this be first name, and let this be, get another TH. Let this be last name. Let's go down a bit. So we have this table, T head, then we have this T hal, then we have this TH. Next is we now want to display this first name and last name that we've added. Now we don't know the number of students that will be added because you may have initially this is empty, and of course you don't want to display anything. Let's save it and see what I'm saying on the browser. Should save it now. Okay, first name, last name. Let me add the border one. So let's go back now. So we have this. We don't know the number of first name and last name that will be added. I mean the number of students that will be added. So we can't just come here and put a static value. We want to put a dynamic value. So what we can do is this. We come here and say T-body. So this is the body of the table. Of course, T-body we also have T-al. Now each row we have first name, last name. Each row in the table we have first name, last name. So what we are going to do is, instead of creating a specific number of T-al, we are going to use a loop to do that. So we are going to say all students. Remember, all students is an array. Is an array of objects. This is an array. So we can say all students dot map. So this map within it is going to take the first value of this. The first value here is the value, while the second one represents the index, right? I've been now. Shall I follow? I just want to be sure
Yes,
we are
sir.
following.
Yes.
Yes, you have.
So let's add the values and the index. We can now say, okay, we can say student. Oh, sorry. We need to put another. Since it's not just one, we need the index now. That's why I'm putting the second parenthesis. If it's just one, we wouldn't have needed the second parenthesis, but because we need the index too, so we can say student, then comma index. Now run this code. So what you are doing is this: create a TR for each student, and in that TR, give us a TD. This will be student dot first name. Then create another TD. So don't worry if it's look confusing, I will explain better. Student dot last name. Then next is, of course, I told us whenever you are using this, you need to use a key equals to I. So let's explain what's going on here. We are calling on all students dot map. We know that map is going to repeat that item. Map is like for each, right? Map is like for each, but it's going to return an array. Map is like for each. So map is going to run all of this for all the items in these all students. It's going to run the codes here for all the items in all students. So each item will be student and the index will be I. And I told us that whenever you are using map like this, you need a key. A key should be unique. Like two items should not have the same key, and that's why we are using the index. But like I said in one of our previous classes, that if you have ID, it's better you use the ID. But since you don't have ID, you can just easily use the index. So we are creating a TR for each item in these all students, and for each of them we are getting the student dot first name and student dot last name. Do we understand? Just about the other JJ came on.
It's getting a bit complex.
Okay. I thought as much. Have you gone through this? I think we discussed this in one of our classes. Yes, I have to discuss. Let me come again. So
Okay, maybe the issue is because of
okay, let me quickly explain
the
this.
last class that I missed off.
Let's quickly do a quick recap around this part so that you understand what is going on here. Let me comment out. Just ignore every other thing and let's do something. Imagine you have an array. Let's say I have an array here. Let's equals to Peter, James, and John. So we have this array. We now want to display divs that will display those three items. Now it's very easy for us to say div, then we can say ARR index 0. This will display Peter. Then copy, paste ARR index 1. This will display James. Then now, this will display John, right? Some sacks.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, but the issue
Yes, I'm with it.
okay, alright, sir. The issue with this approach is that it means we are assuming that this array will be static. It's not going to increase or it's not going to reduce. We are assuming that it will be static. But what if is a dynamic array, that is more items can be added? You know, if more items can be added, then how then do you display all the items? So a better way to do that is to say ARR. Remember, if you want to write JavaScript code within this part, you need to put it in curly braces like this. So you can now say ARR dot map. Map is going to return, it's going to like run something like for each. It's going to run all the codes you put here. ARR dot map. Then if you only need one value, let's say let's say name. Then we can now say let's first start with hello. Let's do this. If you run this, what this is going to do is it's going to display hello 3 times. That because you have 3 items here, it's going to display hello 3 times. But instead of displaying hello 3 times, you want to display this. So you can put name here. Do you get it? You know, name represents each value in this array. Do you understand? Samsax. Is this still
Yes,
with
yes,
us?
it's making sense.
Is that? Do you have any question around this?
I said it's making sense now.
Okay.
It's making sense now.
Alright.
I'm following. I'm getting it.
So this name, you know, once you put a value, a single value, it represents each value in this ARR. So you are displaying the name. But then there's an issue in that whenever you are using a map like this, you need to give this container a key. You can't put 2 items directly inside map. You can't. You can't come here and say div and put another item. No. This map can only take 1 item. This map can only take 1 item. So meaning that I need to delete this one. Well, I can put 100 items inside this single item now. I can put another item here. I can put a p tag or anything. I can put 100 items inside this parent. But map expects 1 parent. Then that 1 parent can now have many other children. Do you understand? Shonye?
Yes.
Okay. Now, map expects 1 parent, but that 1 parent can have many children. So what you're going to do is, it now expects that this parent, whatever is there, it expects something we call key. It must have a key. That key should be unique. 2 items should not have the same key. So we can now, in order to introduce key, we can bring this and put index here. You know, the second item in map represents the index. The second parameter here now represents the index. So we can use the index as the key. All we just need for key is for the key to be unique. That is, 2 items should not share the same key. 2 items must never share the same key. So that's why we are using this I now. Of course, 2 of them cannot have the same index. Any question to this part?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So exactly, that's what we are doing here now. Our student.map student represents each object that we pushed into this array. Then this is a TR. Because it's the parent, we need to give it a key, and we are saying the key should be index. So inside it now, we are now displaying the first name and the last name inside different TDs so that they will stand side by side. Do you understand this?
Yes.
So that means if we have 10 objects inside these all students, then this TR will be 10, because like a loop, you know, map is like a loop. So it's going to run these codes based on the number of items you have inside these all students, and it will display the first name and last name inside each TR. So let me delete this now. Go to the top, delete this also. So let's continue with what's explaining. Next is okay, let's run the code and see everything work fine. So let's add first name. Let's say the first name is Abiodun. Let's say the last name is Ajayi. You can say Abiodun Ajayi. Let's add another one. Oh, we need to make it easier. The user should not be the one clearing this. Immediately you add this, we want to clear this automatically. So we are going to fix that also. Let's say I have another student, Taye, let's say Abida. So we have another student. Then let's say I have Awade Tosin. So we have this. Fine. Any question? So next is I want to.
It's fine.
Is that
I said it's fine. It's
okay?
fine.
Okay. As you can see, the art is simple, isn't it?
Mm,
Come
not
on.
yet, too. But we hope it,
Okay.
it
Next thing is when we
becomes simpler.
is that okay. Next thing is as we click on this, we want to clear the first name and the last name so that the user will not be the one to clear it in order to add another one. So let's quickly fix that. We can say change first name, change it to empty string. The same thing, change last name, change it to empty string. So immediately you add a new student, this will change the first name and the last name back to empty strings. So let's do that together. Let's go to the code and oh, okay. Let's see, Peter John. It's not working. Oh, let's do something here. The value of this will be first name. Okay. So once it is empty string, since we set the value to be first name, then this is going to work fine now. So and the value of this also should be last name. So refresh now and let's add. Let's say we have Abegunde Tolu. Good, it's fine now. Then Akin Wande Shegun. So hope you understand what you are doing. What you're just doing is this: when you click on this add student, you are changing the first name and the last name to empty string. And since you have it here that the value of this at any point in time should be first name and the value of this should be last name. So immediately you change this to empty string, this will automatically pick the changes and becomes empty string. And the same with this. Any question?
Not yet.
Okay, let's move on. So next is you want to add a delete button so as to delete a student. Maybe if I wish to delete a student, I want to be able to do that. So I can come here and add a new th, and we can just call it delete section. Delete section. So next is I come here and add td. So inside this td, I can make it a button and say delete. So let's go to the browser and see how it looks like now. Delete. Good. So when I click on this delete, I want to delete this particular student. Then when I click on this, I want to delete this particular student. But before we go into that logic, I want us to quickly undo something. Now look at a scenario. At the beginning, there is no student, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you don't expect that normally this should not be shown. Since there is no student yet, you may not want to show this part. So let's do that together. So we want to run an if statement. So what you're going to do is this. You know, if there is no student, that means this array is empty. Abi now. If there's no
Yes.
Yes,
student,
sir.
that means these are the students. So we can come here and run a ternary operator. So let's run the ternary operator together. You know, the way ternary operator works is that, let me quickly do a recap so that you understand it. Let's say I have a variable here. Variable a is 6. So I can say if a is greater, uh, if a is greater than, let's say 4, then we put a question mark. Return, let's say 7. Else, return 2. Hope you understand. Of course, since this is JavaScript syntax, it's going to be within curly braces. But what you are doing here is, if a is greater than 4, return 7. Else, return 2. Shall I understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So once you do something like this now, we are going to say if the length of this array is 0, or it depends on what we want to do. If it's greater than 0, then display this table. Else, don't display the table. So we can say, since you're writing logic, you put your curly braces here. You can now say all students, if all students dot length, if it's greater than 0, meaning that at least you have one student there, then do all of this. That is, return all of this. So you can say return all of this here. So I will cut this one out of this place, then I'll put it at the end of this table. Hope you understand what you are doing. If students dot length, if the length of this is greater than 0, then return this table. Oops. This table. Else, remember your ternary operator must have else. Else, maybe you can just return a text or even undefined or something, or null, but you can say no students yet. Return no students yet. What's going on? Let's quickly see what's going on. I'll put this in here like this and come here. So this if what's going, oh my bad, let me quickly tell us what is going on so that we understand the bug before fixing it. This is the bug. Let me scroll up so that I'll show us what is going on. Now you see this curly braces starts here and it ends here, right? Whatever I want to put, even the else should be within this curly braces, not outside this. What I did the other time was I put this all stuff before this. I put all of this inside this curly braces, but the else was outside. That was the problem. The else was outside this curly braces. No, everything should be within this curly braces since we are still writing JavaScript logic. Hope you understand what is going on.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I mean. This, then come here and say else return. You can just respond. You can make it a div or whatever, or even a text, anything. No students yet. Then you can now close it. You can put this in a p tag to just make it neater or something. Okay. So this is it. If you have at least one student, then return all of this. It's going to display oops. It's going to display it to this part. Else, if there is none, then it will display this p tag. Okay, let's just make this like this so that anybody that sees this will quickly know that everything here is within the ternary operator. I think I need to install a plugin that will make this thing auto format. So now you can now place this here and close it out. Yeah. So let's move on now and check it on the browser if everything is working fine. Refresh. Good. No students yet. So let's add new students. Let's say Taye Abidapo. Good. We have this. Let's say James Tunde. Good. So next is we want to make these delete buttons work. But you know, when I want to delete, you need to know the right one. Like, since a single button is the one doing all of this, if I click on this, meaning I want to delete this row, and if I click on this, meaning I want to delete this Abi now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's make the delete button work. So you're going to come here and say, and click. I can call it delete students. Now this is going to be a parameterized function so that we can pass the index. The index will be able to tell us the students we are trying to delete. And you know, if you are using parameterized function, then you put your arrow function. So you can pass the I. I represents index. Since this is the I, that's why I can make use of it here. Whatever you like to say, if this is index, then this one will also be index. So let's leave it as I. So when I click on this, I have to create a function called del student, and that function should be a parameterized function. Let's do that together. So scale up, create a function. So when I click on this button, this I will be sent as the value of index. It's going to be sent as the value of index. So what you're going to do is we can now say all students. Remember, all students is an array. All students dot good filter. Can we remember filter? Please, can we remember filter?
Not really, sir. But it's used to select out or to bring out a particular array out of the array.
Filter is used to you are going to write conditional statement in filter, and if anything that meets that condition will be returned, but anything that does not meet that condition will be removed. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So
Okay. So filter also, like map, it can also take up to 3 parameters. Remember, the first one is the value, the second one is the index, why the third one is the whole array. Remember I said I don't think you have any reason to use the third one anyway. So this one, this student, it represents each one here. Why this one represents the position of that student. So let's now write our condition here. Now, to understand what we want to do, look at it this way. I will do something interesting. I will say check if index is equal to high. Let's first stop here so that you understand this, what we're about to do next. Imagine we have 2 students inside this, all students, and the first one is Taye, the second one is Kende. We have 2 students. The first student is Taye, the second student is Kende, meaning that Taye is at index 0, Kende is at index 1. Abi now?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Sir.
if I now click on the button for Taye, that means the value of this index will be 0. Abi?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Now I have this condition says index must not should be the same as I. That means that it's going to return Taye. I hope you understand it. Because what the way filter works is anything that meets this condition. Remember, I represents the index of each of the item here. This I represents the index of each of the item here. Shall I understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sam Sachs, do you get it, or I should come again?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to get it.
Let's take it again. This time, let's use 3 students. Let's say I have Taye, I have Kende, I have Idowu. Index 0, Taye. Index 1, Kende. Index 2, Idowu. We have 3 students. Now, if I click on that of Taye, if I click on delete Taye, you know that whatever is here will be passed as the value of this index, Abi.
Yes.
It means the value of index will be what?
0.
0. Good. Now, for Taye, I will be 0. For Kende, I will be 1. And for Idowu, I will be 2. Abi.
Yes.
So what is going to do is you now check this condition and check that index is the same as I, and only Taye will meet this condition. Idowu and Kende will not meet the condition because the value of index is 0, and for Taye, I will also be 0. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So meaning that this will only return Taye, is not going to return Kende and Idowu, because this condition says check and ensure that the value of index is the same as I. So if I click on that of Taye, I will be 0, and for Taye, index will be 0, and for Taye, I is also 0, meaning that this will only return Taye. Do we get it? Can we move on?
Yes, you can.
Now, but this is not what we want. This is the opposite of what we want. What we want is that we want to delete Taye, not to retain Taye. You know, when I click on delete, I want it to delete that particular one that I clicked on, but to retain the rest. So what I want you to do is help us to check if the value of index is not I. So let's assume I clicked on, let's say I have 3 items in my array again, and I click on, and the first item is Taye, the second is Kende, and the third is Idowu. Now, if I click on delete of Taye, that is first one, index will be 0, Abi.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For Taye, I will also be 0. So,
Yes,
but
sir.
Taye will not meet this condition because the condition says ensure that index is not the same as I. Kende and Idowu will meet the condition, but Taye will not meet that condition. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, we've actually removed Taye, retaining Kende and Idowu. So that's what we're about to do. So we can now say, let's new students, let it be this. So we know that it's going to return everything except that particular one that we clicked on. Let's change it to exactly equal to. There's no problem. You can use this, but let's make it exactly equal. So that's going to check both the data type and the value. Remember, if you use just this, it will only check the value without checking the data type. It's fine also, it will still work. But I think React throws warning for things like this. It's not going to stop it from working. It will just throw warning in your console. So let's move on. We can now say this function, what is it? Change all students now. Change all students. Let it be new students. So you know that whatever you put here becomes the new value of all students. So since I've removed the one we clicked on, it's going to remain the rest. Do we understand?
Yes.
I filtered it. Then, since I'm not using this student, since I'm not making use of this student at all in our code, I can easily remove it and put an underscore. So what fine. Since I'm not using it, if I'm making use of this, you put it. But since I'm not using it, I can paste it an underscore. So let's go to our code, to the browser, and see if everything is working fine. Okay, let's add students. I'll say, let's say some sucks. Then let's say Jim or cousin add students. Let's say so I want to delete Taye Abidakon, so I can just delete this. It has been removed. If I want to delete Sam Sachs, I can delete this. It has been removed. And if I want to delete Jim or cousin, I can delete this. Now no students yet. Any question?
Hmm.
Okay.
No question, sir.
Now,
Sir,
now, but then I don't
look,
think. Yes, sir.
sir, probably maybe at the end of the class, I don't know if you can just help us with comments on each of the, what was it called, on each of the components, or should I call it function?
Okay. Okay.
Probably maybe when you are doing the revision of everything.
Okay. Let's add new student function. Okay. Next. Uh, next is, but then I don't know if you notice something that this place is getting too rough. Like as time goes on, this place will get so rough that you won't even like it. You won't. That brings us to the main thing we are learning today. Want to learn how to split our application into different components. So let's do that together. What we want to do is this. This that is adding students, like this one responsible for adding students, will be somewhere. This one responsible for displaying students will be somewhere else. Okay, yeah, we can do that. So we are going to create at least two new components. The one responsible for adding students, which is this three, the two inputs and this button, will be inside one component. Then another one that is responsible for displaying students, which is this table, will be inside another component. So yeah, at the end of the day, we will now assemble them together. If we just put all of these things here, it's going to make this place so rough. And also, when you need to debug things, it becomes more difficult. You start looking for the line and all of that, it becomes more difficult. So let's split things into different components. So I will go to the components folder, the one I created in the last, was it the last class now? Or yesterday? Okay, yes. I'll go to this components folder and I'll create a new component called add student. Add, you can write it like this, student dot js. So what this is going to do is we are now going to leave this part where we are adding student, these three lines, and bring it here. So let's create a function called add student const. Oh, since we are using GSX here, you want to import that from that. So cut all of these three, cut them and bring them here. Oh, sorry, return. Return. Okay. So we are returning, then you say export default. As students. So you're exporting this out so that you can import it elsewhere. You can now say import. I can even just call it directly here. Where is it? there is a little issue. There's a function here already called add_student. Okay, this is small letter a, so it's not going to cause any issue. I was considering this initially, but since this is small letter, there won't be any conflict. So you can say, oh, I've not deleted this. Let's see this. Come here and display it here. Add student. So the component has been imported from this /add student. So that's what's going on. We have all of this here now. Then we exported it so that we can import it here. Then we are displaying it here. Any question to this part?
Not really for now.
Okay. Next is this. On this page, there's no variable called last name or first name. There's no function called add student. Now, that's where it is. On this page, no first name, no last name, no function called add student. So it means that we need to lift them from this place to that place. So let's come here and lift this. Cut. Then bring them here. Of course, you need to bring in your use states. So now we have the first name, last name. The next add students. This function, you cut it from this place and you bring it here. So I think all is fine here now. Any question?
Not yet.
Do you understand?
Yes, it's fine. We have to. I apart from this project, are we doing anything? Because I feel it's already overload in my head.
Wow. Well, this is the last thing we are doing tonight. We just want to split
Because
things
so
into
that we have
different.
time to
Okay.
rewind on all this part of. Because
Okay.
if we are doing another thing,
No, this
addition
is the
to
only
this
thing we are
one
doing
too.
tonight. Now, but then there is a little issue. The issue is this all students. In fact, it's a very big is an issue. The thing is this. You see this first name and last name. We don't have problem with them. The reason is because on this page we are not using first name and last name again. Like there's no point on this page that we are using first name and last name. The first name and last name that we are using here is from this array of all students, not these variables. Do you understand?
Sorry, can you come again?
Okay. This first name and the last name that we are using here, they are only used here. There's no point in this part, in this other section, that we are using that first name and last name again. Even the ones here, they are from the array, not these variables. Do you get it?
Yes.
Meaning that if we cut this, if we cut the way we cut these variables to this place, it's not going to give us any problem. It will work fine. But there's a problem with these all students. The problem is that this page, this section of our code, also needs the all students. Show you Wala. This section of our code also needs the all students. So in order to explain it, I will break this. I will stop here. I'll quickly explain something. When I'm done explaining it, I will now continue with this assignment, with this task that we are on. Let's quickly explain it. So what we're going to do is, I will comment out everything on this page for now. Then I'll quickly explain something. The same thing also. Let me create a new component to explain it. New file. I'll call it explanation.js. Then I'll say const explanation equals to return. Then export export explanation. No worry, we still revise this in our next class. So I'll come to the app.js and just comment out all of these things. I think the easiest thing would just be to highlight everything. Okay, so I've commented out everything on this page. I'll just say const app equals to this, then return so I'll bring in the explanation now. Bring in explanation. So we have this explanation here and we've got it here. Of course, you will agree with me that whatever is on this page, let me put this in. Whatever is on this page, if I put hello world, will automatically be brought to this page. I've been now.
Yeah.
Oh, let's export this one. Sorry, export default. So whatever is on this page will be brought here. Now the next is this is still loading. Hello world. Okay. Next is this. Imagine we now have a variable here. Let's say I have variable name and the name is Taye. And on this page I want to display something like my name is whatever the value of this variable name is. I want to display it on this explanation page. Note, this app is the parent, why this is the child? Because this explanation is inside app. So we want to find a way of passing this name to this explanation. So what you are going to do is you pass it as though you are passing an HTML attribute. You can give it any attribute of your choice. I can call it my name. But the value is now name. Do we get it? The value is this variable. I'm passing an attribute here, my name, and I'm saying the value is variable name. Any question? Try and get there.
We are following you, sir.
Okay. So I can now come to this page and make use of it. In order to be able to make use of it, you come here and add something called props. It's not a must to call it, but you can call it anything, but the convention is to use the word props. Anything you put here like this will be a property of this props. This prop is an object. Anything you put here will now be a property of that props, meaning that if I come here and I say props dot my name, so this becomes my name is Taye. I will come here again and say department. I will add another one and call it, let's say let department be software. So I can come here and say let department be department like this. So this now will be passed down here. So remember the key here is DEPT, right? So I can come here and say my department is props.dep. See, of course, since you are using GSX here, you need to import React from React. Any question?
We are following you, sir.
Okay.
So that means we can actually import many variables with this.
Yes, we can. We can. Now let's go to the browser and see the results. My name is Taye. My department is software. So as much as possible, you can send them down. Then you can also add ordinary string. So let's say I don't want to do this. I can add ordinary string like this. let's say hardware or any or number or anything, it's still fine. It's still the same result. So this hardware will pass down as, since the value what it uses is whatever you put here. This is DEPT. So that is why we need to use props.dept. On get to the browser, you will see the results. My department is hardware. Then a common thing you are going to be seeing online is destructuring this. They can destructure this. Instead of writing props dot, I don't know, you may not be comfortable by saying props dot props dot. So you can just destructure here directly. Since you know that, remember this is an object. Props is an object. So inside that object, props is an object. Inside that object, I can now destructure my name and I can destructure DAPT. So I don't need to say props dot again. It's interesting, right?
Hey.
That's why I said you need to, like, you know, the time we took learning JavaScript, it's actually worth it. It will. It will. So what you are just doing here is you are destructuring. If you want to write it in full, no problem. But you're going to be saying this a lot. What I'm just doing is you are destructuring this my name and department from that object, so that you don't need to say props dot again. So you still have the same results. Now, why will you need this? Why not just bring this variable name and bring it here directly? This is the reason you will need it. Whenever you realize that this page needs it and this page also needs it, then you put it in the parent. Again, if the parent and the child, both of them, let's assume you are making use of this variable name also on this same page. Let's assume there's a point on this page whereby you are using name also. Then you put it in the parent, not well, I'll put it like this. You put it in the parent. When you realize that the parent and the child needs it, again, when you realize that two sisters needs it, let's assume there's another component here. Let's just say there's a component here like this. I'm just assuming, I'm still going to remove this. But let's assume there's another component here that also needs the name. You put it in the parent. Explanation needs it. Component also needs that name. Then you put it in the parent. Shall I understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the parents, if the idea is that if two sisters, I think that's the most important thing. If two sisters need it, then it must be inside their parents. That value must not be inside any of the sisters. If this needs it, meaning you need to make use of it here, and also you also need to make use of it inside this component. Let's assume this is a component now. If you need to make use of it there also, you now put it in the parent. This app is the parent of the two of them. So let's now go back to what I was explaining. Then lastly, the owner of a state must be the one to change the value of that state. The owner of the state must be the one to change the value of that state. Let me give an example. This first name belongs to this art student because I'm creating it here. Meaning that if at any point I need to change this first name, it must be done inside this component, not inside any other component. Do we get it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The owner of a state must be the one to change the value of that state, not any other states. Good. So all you need to do is just check where that state is being created and know that, okay, the owner of that state must be the one to change it. So I will come back here now and delete all of this. Now, delete. So I'll comment all of this also. Then save. Come to this as student. I think we stopped here. So first name, yes, we are fine with first name, last name, but we have problem with this all students. Since we are going to be making use of all students here too, and remember I said we still cut this table, we still take it inside another component. I've been now. We still take it inside another component. So these all students cannot be here. let's quickly cut this table and take it to another component. I'll get a new component. I'll call it display students .js. So I will cut this part, this table, just cut it out of this place and take it to this display students. So import React from React, then const display student return then paste, then come here and say export default display student. So I'm exporting this here so that I can import it here. So display student. Good. So what you're doing is this: we cut that and we put it here. Now there's a little issue. The issue is that both of them, this add student and this display student, both of them need to make use of this all students. That's what the issue is. Both of them needs to. So that's the next thing we want to fix now. So that means, let me remove this explanation. That means all students cannot be here. It needs to be in app.js. Remember I said when two sisters need to use a variable, then you put it in their parents, right? So we're going to take all students and put it inside this parent. So it's already there already. Next is we pass it down to both of them, since both of them need to make use of it. Both of them needs to make use of it. So I can call it all student. It's not a must to call it all student, but the reason I'm using all students again is that I don't want to touch the codes here. Where is it? I don't want to touch any variable here and yet I don't want to leave it like that, so that's why I'm using the same name. Let it be students. So I'm passing this array down to this, and I'm also passing it down to the display students. Copy. I'll just copy all of this and pass it down. So I'm passing this all student, this empty array, down to add students, and I'm passing it down to display students. But now remember, the owner of a state must be the one to edit that state. That means if we are adding a new student, it cannot happen here. Confusing. Since the state is owned by app.js, this add students, since we are touching it here, it must not happen here. I don't know if you understand what is going on. The owner of a state, this is the owner of all students. This component app.js is the one that owns this all students. And since the owner of a state must be the one to edit that state, this addition, this place that you're adding new students, it cannot happen here. It needs to happen in app.js. Any question? Should we stop here tonight if it's getting too much?
To me, I don't know. It seems is doing me some already. My eyes are.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Before we start splitting things, hope you understand it to that point.
Yes, I do.
Let me take everything back to the same page so that in our next class we just continue from here. Just say Ctrl Z.
But this to this point was recorded, Abby.
Yes, everything, even till now, yes, everything is being recorded.
Okay.
So, let me remove this, all of these things. I just press Ctrl Z. So I think this is where we are. Yeah, everything's fine. So I can delete this, the new component I just added. So in next class we just start from here. We are going to start splitting things into different components. And we delete the display student also. So let's do a quick recap of our class. So let's do a recap of what we've done so far. Um, Here we created two states, one for first name and one for last name. Then when the user clicks on this button, where is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. When the user clicks on this button, you will get the first name and you get the last name. Then you are pushing it inside this. No, you are pushing it inside this change all students. When the user clicks on this button, add students, you are getting the first name and the last name, creating an object called new student, and you are pushing that object into this change students. Then you are setting this back to empty strings. So now next is this: when immediately you push it here, instantly this table will get populated. Reason is because of the code. We are saying that okay, this is if the length of the array is greater than 0, then create a table. If it's not greater than 0, meaning if it is 0 or yes, if there is nothing there, it's going to display no student yet. But once you have at least one student there, it's going to create this table for you. Now in this table we have order, we have t head, we have tr, we have 3 columns, first name, last name, and the list section. Then we have t-body. Inside the t-body, we are using all students.map. Remember, all students is an array of objects, and we are creating tr based on the number of students we have in all students. That's why we are using map. This map we created based on the number of students that we have available in all students. So, and the keys, I remember the key should be unique, and your map can only take one child. The child here is the tr. Your map can only take one child. So we have this first name, last name, that is student dot first name, then student dot last name. Then you have a button here. When I click on this button, we want to delete that particular student. So come up here. Now we are passing the index, this I. We are passing it here so that we're going to know the student we want to delete. So this comes here, and it is passed as the value of index. So what we are doing here is we are using this filter to remove that particular one. So I represents the index of each item. It represents the index of each item. So what we are doing here is we are checking if index is not the same as I, return it. But for that particular one that it is clicked on, that we clicked on, it's going to delete that one. So and when we are done, change all students back to new students. You can use slice if you want to. You may not necessarily use filter. You can use slice if you're okay with it. So just ensure that whatever you slice, just put the result back here. So the value of change all students now will now become new students. I think that's where we stopped. That's where we're stopping tonight. Any question?
Sir, please, that line 17, can I please just change it to student, please?
Line 17. This
That
one.
place you put underscore.
Okay. Okay. Students. Okay. Any other thing? Do you have any other thing? I think you are not using this variable. I'm not using it for anything. I think I only use it for explanation. Any other thing? As you can see, React is so lovely, like so. Although it's rough anyway, yes, it's a good argument that React is rough. You are using HTML in JavaScript, and when we start writing CSS also, everything will still be. You see how it may make your work look rough. React is somehow rough, unlike Angular and Vue. That is, but then React requires you to know JavaScript very well. So then, as you write React code, you will know JavaScript even the more. That's why I love React. It makes you know JavaScript even more. So let's stop. Let me stop recording.